The NFL's high-stakes stadium game has a new entry, and the Atlanta Falcons say they're playing it a little differently by putting in more skin.
The public gets the economic benefit, but takes no risk.
An NBA player comes out of the closet. Is Jason Collins a game changer for the business of sports?
I don't know if it's going to be weeks or months, but I don't believe that a year from now, Jason Collins will be the only one.
Plus, the wrestling community goes to the mat to save an Olympic sport.
Ultimately, our job is to demonstrate to the IOC why wrestling belongs in the Olympic movement, in the Olympic family.
And a new venture offers the sports experiences of a lifetime online.
We wanted to create a marketplace where a consumer could engage with the talent to do a myriad of different things.
For one-of-a-kind sports business coverage, look no further. Sportfolio starts now. Hello, I'm Rick Horrow, and welcome to Sportfolio, Bloomberg's weekly inside look at the business of sports. The NFL held its annual college draft last week in New York. Eric Fisher, Luke Jokel, and a handful of other college stars will make an impact in the league right away. But in Atlanta, there's a great deal of excitement about a project that's still a few years down the road. The Falcons are moving forward on a public-private partnership that will replace the Georgia Dome with a multi-purpose facility in 2017 at an estimated cost of $1 billion. It's not just the size of the investment that raises eyebrows. It's the timing. After all, the Georgia Dome, just 20 years old. Falcons president Rich McKay had a tough case to make to the city's leadership. But he laid the plan out for me in an interview at the team offices.
Why do you need public money for such a new stadium?
I think the answer is because you're creating a 30-year solution. I have seen many a deal done in our league that involve $250, $350 million of public money and a 10-year extension of a deal, which means after the 10 years, you got 20 more years to deal with or a new stadium to deal with.
The Falcons are owned by Arthur Blank, founder of Home Depot, Atlanta's largest company. Blank has pledged to fund the lion's share of construction costs and said he won't leave the city holding the bag for future expenses.
Many of these public-private partnerships, the team will write a definitive private sector check, and the public makes up the difference. In your case, it absolutely stands on its head.
In this one, we saw it as, let us, the private entity, take all the risk. Let the public make a capital contribution in the form of in this case, a hotel motel tax, a local tax of outsiders, if you will. And then you create a situation where the public gets the economic benefit, but takes no risk.
The public contribution will come entirely from a hotel motel tax that's already been passed by the voters.
When you look at new stadiums that have been done in the last, let's say, 10 years, and we have them all, we've looked at them a million times, and it's incredible how much there's cobbling going on. Well, we'll cobble this tax with this tax with this tax, which that means there's a lot of people you have to talk to and a lot of votes that you have to get. In this case, you had an existing tax that had served a purpose and served it very well. It had really benefited the convention business in Atlanta. And so in this case, for us to take an existing tax, extend it, have no additional, not raise it in any way, shape, or form, and have it be a tax, Rick, that doesn't impact the locals. 86% of the people that stay in hotels in Atlanta are from out of the state of Georgia.
Blank and the Falcons will recoup some of their investment through a joint agreement to manage the facility with its owner, the Georgia World Congress Center.
Georgia World Congress Center remains the owner of the building, and they become our landlord. We run the building 365 days a year. The deal we did with the Congress Center is really a good model public-private partnership. We run the building. They maintain the events that they have created over the years, which we call legacy events. So they will be kind of the operators of those events, and we will report to them for those.
And this management structure dictated a compromise in the structure of the building.
We went into this, Rick, with the idea, let's build an outdoor football stadium. Weather here in Atlanta is pretty good and pretty good year-round. So that was our object, and we knew from a cost efficiency standpoint it was better for us to do that. As we went down that process, we kind of came to the conclusion of it's a really good result for us, not such a great result for the city and or the Congress Center, because as much as the Dome could potentially, with money, go a few more years and still be acceptable, it was going to run out. And when it ran out, we weren't going to be able to have those events, whether they're the SEC Championship, whether it's the Super Bowl, whatever it may be that requires that roof. So we felt like that's the biggest give we gave in this process. Was there was a time we came together and said, you know what, this needs to be a one-stadium solution, and it needs to be a retractable roof.
Through this process of give and take, Blank and the Falcons cleared every political hurdle. The City Council approved the project in March, and Atlanta's Development Authority agreed to issue bonds in early April. Only one significant detail remains to be worked out.
We signed all the documents that are binding in nature. The only real thing, Rick, left for us is a determination of site. We still have two potential sites. One involves acquisition of land, which the city's underway on, and the other does not. So we've got one sitting there that we know we can build on, one that I think everybody would like to build on, and that's really the only thing left in front of us.
The preferred stadium site south of the Georgia Dome is presently occupied by two historic churches that must consent to move in order for construction to go forward. The Falcons and Arthur Blank Foundation have committed separate monies to acquire property, build infrastructure, and support improvements in surrounding neighborhoods above and beyond the positive economic impact that the facility by itself may generate.
When I was a naive pup into the league, we always sold these projects as, hey, these are going to be community movers. As soon as you build this thing, you're not even able to drive around it. There's so much activity that's going to go on. It's not necessarily the case, because there's 365 days of the year. There's only, let's say, 60 events, 50 events. You do the math and you end up with a big number where there isn't events. In this case, I think what we try to do is say, we'll get the stadium right. We'll do it right. We'll build it the right way. We'll use all the green technology. We'll make sustainability a priority, not something we just talk about. But we'll also get the community right, and we're going to treat that separately.
Through a state-defined selection process, 360 Architecture has been chosen as the stadium architect. The Kansas City firm also designed MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Rich McKay tells me the team will seek a naming sponsor, preferably a local company, and a general contractor should be in place by the end of May. Coming up, is Jason Collins the Jackie Robinson of the gay community? Sid Ziegler of Outsports joins us to discuss the business outcome of a pro athlete coming out.
Jason Collins should be able to do his job. And just because he's gay doesn't change that.
Stay with us as Sportfolio rolls on. Recently on Sportfolio, we discussed the growing momentum toward gay and lesbian inclusion in sports and the marketing opportunities that could come to the first openly gay pro athlete. I asked our guest Sid Ziegler when we'll see a pro athlete come out.
I just can't guess. Back in 2000, we at Outsports said we didn't know when it was going to happen, but it'll be definitely by 2010. Well, it's 2013 and it still hasn't happened. And anyone who guesses it's going to happen this summer or next year, they just don't know, because it's going to happen when one athlete is ready to do it. It doesn't matter if the rest of us are ready.
Days after we spoke, WNBA top draft pick Brittany Griner told the world she's gay. And this week, NBA veteran Jason Collins made the same announcement to Sports Illustrated. Sid Ziegler, founder and editor of Outsports.com, joins us again via Skype from Indianapolis. He said you're a West Coast guy, so on the Richter scale, how big an impact does the Jason Collins story have?
I think it's a 9 out of 10, and the only reason it's not a 10 is because he's not on a roster and he is stepping foot on a basketball court tomorrow. When he does that in November, this story will be a 10.
It's a huge story, obviously, also because response from other NBA players have been generally positive. Kobe Bryant, among others, tweeting their support. What struck you the most about the reaction?
What struck me the most is it's exactly what we at Outsports have been expecting for years, that people in America, they may quibble over whether gay people should be able to marry or whether they should be in the Boy Scouts, but what people are pretty unanimous about is they should be able to play the sport they want and do their job. And that's all we're talking about here. Jason Collins should be able to do his job. And just because he's gay doesn't change that. Just because people get naked in the locker room doesn't change that. So what's been remarkable is to see what we expected all along, that America is very much okay with this.
Well, and you've spoken about this issue before, but do you think Collins will reap marketing benefits from being the first?
I'll tell you, within a couple hours of the announcement, I heard from 2 or 3 different friends who said, I'm buying a Jason Collins jersey today. Now I said, wait till he gets picked up by a team, because I don't know if you want a Wizards jersey if he's playing for the Trailblazers. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think not only the jersey sale is going to be heavy when he gets picked up by a team, but I think ticket sales will be heavy, and also the memorabilia. When he steps foot on that court, people are going to want something from that night. So the opportunity to sell T-shirts and coins and whatever, you just put his face on something with the date. I think there's a lot of money to be made, not just for him, but for a team that signs it.
You pegged it. He's a free agent, so he theoretically can go anywhere. Did the economics of what you just talked about weigh somewhere in the decision for a team to pick him up or not?
I think they weigh somewhere. You have to consider front office executives have lots of things in their mind, but the foremost thing is winning. And for a coach, that's all he cares about. He doesn't care how many T-shirts somebody's going to sell. He only cares because his job, he only keeps his job if he wins. So Jason Collins, 99.8% of his ability to get another job is simply his ability to help that team win. Being gay does not help or hurt him, except for maybe that 0.2%.
And I guess, Sid, this is probably the most profound question of them all. Does it make it exponentially easier for other athletes to walk through the closet door?
I think it does, because, you know, Jason talked about it in his Sports Illustrated column. He was waiting for somebody else to be the first one. And when it went years and nobody did it, he finally said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I believe that other guys will, now that it's been done and they see the kind of reaction, I don't know if it's going to be weeks or months, but I don't believe that a year from now, Jason Collins will be the only one.
Well, Sid Ziegler, thanks again for making the time to talk with us on Sportfolio.
Thanks for talking about it.
Still ahead on Sportfolio, wrestling fights for its life as an Olympic event. A man who's determined to save the sport joins us next. And our Sportfolio stumper involves wrestling. Can you name the 3 Division I universities with the most NCAA team wrestling titles? Answer when we come back. Here's the answer to our stumper. The 3 schools with the most NCAA Division I wrestling championships: Oklahoma State, Iowa, and Iowa State. Wrestling has a grand tradition as an intercollegiate sport in America and as an Olympic sport in both ancient and modern times. But in February, the International Olympic Committee announced it's dropping the sport from the Summer Games in 2020. Joining us now is Bill Scheer, who won an NCAA individual wrestling title at the University of Nebraska and now leads the Committee for the Preservation of Olympic Wrestling. Bill, the IOC says it's evaluated 26 summer sports according to criteria like TV ratings and ticket sales, and that it's a business decision to eliminate wrestling. Why are they wrong?
Well, wrestling is a sport that is interwoven in every culture on the globe, and it has been for 15,000 years. When you go back to paintings on the walls of caves in what is now the area of France, to hieroglyphics on Egyptian walls. This sport is integral to modern society and ancient society. It was a sport before the Olympic Games. We should be part of the Games. And I think the decision that they've made is wrong, both for the sport of wrestling and for the Olympic movement.
Well, certainly you have history on your side, but you're also leveraging grassroots support to bring wrestling back. What about sponsor support? And it seems that when corporate sponsors talk, you know the IOC listens.
Well, the IOC does, and that's one of the issues that wrestling had. They didn't have a breadth of sponsorship that the IOC would have wanted, among other things. The sport really had poor leadership at the international level, didn't modernize the way the IOC wanted us to, and didn't participate in the process. So we're at blame here, but we're changing, we're improving along the lines of what the IOC wants us to do, and we'll be out attracting some of those sponsors, because it is a dynamic global sport today, and I think we can change those things, and it can be a victory for the IOC in this process.
I guess reacting, scrambling, recovering. But you've announced one partnership that should gain some notice. It's with the Ultimate Fighting Championships in the sports of mixed martial arts. How'd that come about, and how's it going to help you?
Well, Dana White and the UFC, understand and know that wrestling is one of the component sports that goes into the skills necessary to compete and win in MMA, and it's been showcased that many wrestlers have been the most victorious folks in that arena. So they have naturally wanted to assist us and be part of our campaign, and we reached out to Dana, and they've offered their support from a public relations standpoint.
Business standpoint, too, probably a great alliance. Now, May World Wrestling Month, and your organization organized a couple of high-profile events in New York and L.A. Tell us about them.
Yeah, this should be a fantastic showcase for wrestling globally, not only in the United States. We have the USA versus Russia in Iran in Grand Central Station. That should be a marquee event that has global reach for wrestling. And then the U.S. is going to wrestle Iran May 19th in Los Angeles. So we think those events can make some noise, garner some support here in the U.S., but also reach out and demonstrate why wrestling is an important global sport, because it brings societies and peoples together.
Well, but outside of financial support, what's going to win this battle, and how can our viewers get involved?
Well, the viewers can get involved. We have a website, keepolympicwrestling.com. They can go there and sign up for support. They can always help us financially, and they can volunteer to get involved and build wrestling at the local grassroots level, which is what we need, build awareness and support for the sport. And ultimately, our job is to demonstrate to the IOC why wrestling belongs in the Olympic movement, in the Olympic family, and why it's good for them.
Bill Scheer, pleasure to have you on Sportfolio.
Thank you.
Keep up the good fight.
Thanks.
We're not done on this week's Sportfolio. Coming up, a former NFL star starts a new business that's all about experiences money can't buy. Except now it can.
We're creating a new type of marketplace for lifelong, memorable experiences to take place.
Tiki Barber and Thuzio.com. Straight ahead. Get Sportfolio wherever you go on the Bloomberg TV Plus app for iPad. Welcome back to Sportfolio. Chances are, like most consumers, you do your sports shopping online. You get your tickets, your jerseys, your equipment, all by simply searching and clicking. But did you know there is now a web platform that allows you to buy sports experiences online? The site's Thuzio.com, and founders of Thuzio.com, Mark Gerson and former New York Giants All-Pro running back Tiki Barber. Hey, welcome, guys. Tiki, first, though, give us the 30-second elevator speech on Thuzio.
Well, you hit it right on the head. We know that consumers like to shop online now, and we wanted to create a marketplace where a consumer could search by an athlete or by a price to engage with a talent to do a myriad of different things, whether it's lunches or dinners or bar mitzvahs or play a flag football game, and do it in a way where they felt comfortable with price transparency, as most e-commerce transactions are, in a very convenient and easy way. Thuzio was born because of the need for consumers to interact and for athletes to want to engage with their communities.
And you, of course, being a considerable talent yourself. But, Mark, I'd imagine there's a consumer market for this, but also a B2B market. What kind of audience have you found so far?
Yeah, it's a very good question. We found that the bulk of our audience is actually a business audience. And the reason is that Thuzio experiences are really the best way to cultivate prospects and to engage with clients. Customer after customer that have come to us have found that they can bring out anywhere between 10 and 15 times as many prospects or as many clients to events or experiences as they could in any other way.
Well, Mark, follow-up for you. Talk about your revenue model. Does your revenue come from a percentage of each experience sold, or are you developing other revenue streams as well?
So there are a couple revenue streams. When we serve consumers, typically it's a percentage of revenue sold. When we serve businesses, it's often on subscription.
Tiki, we'll still consider you talent, okay? You come from the talent side. I'm sure in your career you had agents, you had advisors managing your schedule and looking for opportunities. Do athletes enjoy taking more direct control of their marketing?
Well, I think athletes need to take more direct control of their marketing, especially once they retire, because they often lose touch with that agent who has been their connection to their communities or to other type of corporate events. And so I think as the world evolves and it becomes more technical and we become more technically connected, it becomes imperative for us as athletes to get smart about our own brands and how to monetize it downstream. And Thuzio allows you to do that. We love bringing on new talent. We love engaging our customers because we know that they want to do that. You see it in social networking with Twitter and Facebook, etc. They want to engage. We're providing a way for them to engage in face-to-face, one-on-one, or any type of other experience that they can really think of.
Well, again, Tiki, from your perspective as an ex-NFL star and a pretty darn popular one at that, you didn't have to use Thuzio to hang out with athletes, but what are a couple of really cool things the rest of us could find on your site?
Well, there's lots of great things because we not only have athletes, we started to move outside of the athletic sphere. We started there, obviously, because it was organic to me, but we're looking into authors and Broadway stars and eventually chefs and movie stars, etc., doing literally anything that you can think of that you would want to do, whether that's coaching, whether that's having an experience or watching a game or a play with one of our talent. And so we found that we're creating a new type of marketplace for lifelong memorable experiences to take place, and it really is fulfilling. I mean, obviously it's an economic model for us as a company, but it's a fulfilling one for our talent as well.
Maybe a chef can teach me how to cook a grilled cheese sandwich.
No,
I
he
need
probably
that.
can't do that.
No, can't. You know me too well. Mark, last word. What's next for your company?
Really to continue to grow our B2B market and to help businesses engage prospects, engage with their clients in ways that are truly memorable, totally unique, and unforgettable.
Tiki Barber, Mark Gerson, thanks for joining us. And again, good luck with Thuzio.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That'll do it for this edition of Sportfolio. Our thanks to Rich McKay, Sid Ziegler, Bill Scheer, Mark Gerson, and Tiki Barber for joining us. And thank you for watching. You can view all of our past Sportfolio episodes on our website, Bloomberg.com. I'm Rick Haro. See you next time.